So all the design came from imagination of human beings. So the building looked like organic life.
We are attracted as human beings by great design.
People are proud to live in a building that makes an architectural statement.
An architect is an artist. I think people enjoy the work of artists.
It's pretty obvious that people are into design.
Good design not only sells, but it sells at a premium in the marketplace. Well, we always knew that this parcel of land at the corner of Burnhamthorpe and 10 was an important intersection for the city.
The location is center ice within Mississauga. The developers had wanted to do something very special.
We felt that the highest and best use would be a residential building. And so one day I happened to be golfing with Ed Sajaki. I said, Ed, what about an international design competition?
And we were very excited when they said they were giving consideration to going to an international design competition. My staff fully embraced this idea.
I was excited about it. The staff was excited about it when we heard what Fernbrook and Citizen were going to do with an international contest.
It was an idea that took on a life of its own. None of us could have anticipated the response that it would receive, not only from the city of Mississauga, but globally.
Something new in architecture.
In Mississauga.
Il condominio dovrebbe diventare il simbolo.
通过这幅图想象一下我们今天请到的。
I like the Absolute for a couple of reasons. First of all, I like the way they did it. The fact that there was a competition. I've never heard of such a thing.
No one believed that a private sector company would ever do that, expose themselves in such a fashion. Not only did it bring this cross-section of designs from all over the world, it brought attention to the project on a global scale. And it wasn't long before we received well in excess of 600 registrations. And from there, we received 92 submissions.
We never expected to have such a result. We were overwhelmed.
And then it was left up to the jury to decide who the finalists were.
There was ultimately 6 that were shortlisted.
We kept the finalists under wraps up until the time of the presentation to the public, and we had a ceremony at BCE Place. The finalists were then presented to the public.
That same exhibit was basically taken on a bit of a road show.
And the public was asked to comment on what their favorites were.
When I attended the presentation, they were very unique, very different, and I wondered which one would be chosen.
I remember one day we got an email, but when I opened, I saw congratulations. Mississauga has ambition to build a future. So I think the question is, what's the future city look like? In the high-density urban context, we should introduce nature. So I was quite sure our tower shouldn't be another memorial or symbol for the strength or power. We should introduce this beautiful curve, the softness.
I think it is trying to connect with nature and to be at one with nature, the ebb and flow of life.
I like the way it changes as you move around it. The view is slightly different.
So the building looked like organic life.
When this one was chosen, I wondered, can it be built?
From the very beginning, there was a lot of doubt in the community as to whether or not this would ever get built.
I was extremely confident with our partners at Citizen and our construction crew at Dominus, and the consultants that we hired were number one.
But it was also important to have a local architect, and so we ended up pairing Yang Song Ma with a local firm.
Into the lobby. It was my task to kind of bring it into the real world and to figure out, in conjunction with the structural engineer, how we're going to make it stand up.
In order to eliminate thermal drip, to isolate the balcony.
I wanted us to be true to the original design, and I made that very clear to the design team from the very start.
Consultants are an integral part of any project, but on this one in particular, because it was such a complicated building, there were daily meetings.
So we now had this great design, but we needed to sell the units.
The marketing team that we had assembled created the interest among the buyers. Mississauga had not seen something like this before, and they were ready for it.
I mean, it was a mad rush. I need to buy a unit in this building.
I mingled with the crowd prior to us opening the doors, and I've never felt that kind of buzz.
On the first weekend that we opened the sales office, we pretty much sold out the building. And so at that point we decided that we were going to move quickly forward with the design of the next phase. And we sold that out in a matter of a couple of days as well.
Usually we spend 3 to 4 months before we start digging. I think we spent close to a year before we started digging with this project.
Obviously, structurally, that was the biggest challenge. Every floor was different.
Each level, every level, starting from ground floor to the 56th floor, basically it was building a floor-by-floor project, starting right from scratch, and every floor was always unique. And it wasn't only the structure, it was every discipline of construction had to deal with what was next.
And have you dealt with the wall forms and the pipe space in this particular area here?
Yeah. It's very innovative, and we had to be innovative on our side. Innovative in the techniques, the details, and taking out their thinking caps and dealing with every part of construction, from concrete to windows to kitchens to electrical, mechanical. Whenever there was a challenge, everybody got involved in it.
We got a lot of great response from the city.
There was a lot of toing and froing between my staff and the consultants and engineers.
With permits, construction details, engineering, they're also part of the team.
In hindsight, without that involvement and without that interest, again, projects like this won't happen.
Everyone worked together to make the building happen.
It very much is true to the architectural intent that Yan Sung Ma had when he first made his submission.
Many people thought we would fail, but here it is.
In your career, you only get, I think, probably only one time in your lifetime that you're going to build something like this, and it was something that we wanted to all do.
It's so wonderful that the private sector took the initiative.
I really would hope that other cities would now take a look at this and see what Hazel has been able to do with her collaboration with us.
The city's openness to zoning was a catalyst.
It allowed this creative expression to be entertained in a serious way by business.
The opportunity was rare, not only for me, but also for a city like Mississauga.
Modern architecture goes, one of the finest buildings in the world. I mean, and it's being acknowledged that way.
These buildings are helping to shape that image for Canada.
The absolute is the most striking condo design that I've seen in my time at the Star.
Mississauga now has a skyline and it's punctuated by these spectacular buildings.
And I think that shapes the image that we have abroad.
Everybody in our team is so proud of this program.
The outcome is worth every sleepless night.
We're hoping the building also can be a symbol for a future city.